Good morning guys, welcome to another video. As you can see, not in our usual setting today, well the setting you've seen in the last couple of videos. This is at my place now. So we've got the Evo here, parked up nicely, and the daily in the back. But what we are doing in today's video is getting the daily ready for inspection, because the rego is due in a couple of weeks and it needs to pass safety inspection. So there's a couple little things we need to do here and there to get it ready so it'll pass, hopefully. The first thing that I want to do is swap out the coilovers for the factory suspension. Now the actual coils I've got on it now, I've had on there for about 90,000 Ks and they've been good to me, but recently I think they might have given up. So previously I've had a set of, well right now I have a set of BC BRs. These have lasted me, I don't know what, the last 7 years, 90,000 Ks. But a couple months ago I did hit a massive pothole, and now the front right is clanking, knocking, leaking, making all sorts of noises. So I don't think it's going to pass inspection with that. So what we're going to do is swap in the factory suspension, but not only that, we're going to swap in a set of Whiteline springs so we still get that drop. So the factory suspension is in there, Whiteline springs are in there, and hopefully when we do that, yeah, we're going to lose the height adjustability, but hopefully we'll still keep the relatively nice fitment we have going, and maybe we'll even gain some comfort. So step one in this whole process is fitting up the springs, Whiteline springs, into the factory suspension. I'll do that and we'll see how long that takes us, because it's been a while since I've done a spring install, honestly, but let's get that going. Alright team, little update. Got our friend the Hawk here. He just keeps away the pests. I mean, there's a lot of birds here that like to sit on my car and just like take craps all day, so he does a good job of keeping them away. But little update, we've got the springs unboxed. You see Whiteline springs, and of course safety first. We've got a couple of spring compressors. So let me try to get those onto the factory spring struts we have there. These don't look too tightly sprung, so I might be able to get away with not using the spring compressors on the rears. But let me hit that with the impact and get that going.
Perfect.
Alright, little update time. So got the rears done. Not that hard. Got the new springs in there, looking really nice. Halfway through the first of the fronts. But yeah, not that hard if you got the right tools. Spring compressors, impact driver makes a big difference. But let me finish the last one off, and then we'll have a go at removing the old coils and throwing these new things on. Alright, quick update. Got all these springs on these struts. So old springs off, new springs on. So these struts are still relatively new. They've only got about less than 20,000 Ks on factory struts. So hopefully these last. Maybe I might gain a bit more comfort out of it as well. But next step is jacking that up, taking the coilovers off, and then putting the new struts in. So as you can see, I'm kind of working with limited space here. I don't have much to the sides. I got a bit on the rear, a bit to the front. Might move the Evo a bit more forward, but I'm also working on a little bit of an incline, but I think it should be right. Just use proper wheel chocks when jacking up. I'll do one end at a time, so I'll do the rears first and then I'll do the front. But I want to take some photos of what this looks like before, and I'll take some after photos. Oh yeah, and I also realized that I never kind of did a proper outro for the last video about the splitter. So this is the splitter in all its glory. It looks pretty good, honestly. It came out pretty good, about how I expected. It is still a little bit, how do you say it? There's still a bit of flex in the front and a bit on the edges here, but you know, it looks good. Seems like it'll hold up, but yeah, there's a splitter. Okay, so welcome to the inside of the car. So this is the kind of trunk lining. So there's a couple clips, one clip there, one clip here. So once you get that off, you can peel this back, and there are that's one, and that's two. There are the two strut top bolts for the rear struts. Me and my friend, an old friend, did this a long time ago, maybe like 7 years ago. And we also, so that's the strut top, and then up here, because of the BC coils, you have the damper adjustment. So this is an extender. You can set it softer, harder. It was a cool feature to have because the strut towers, it's actually blocked off from factory. Some cars didn't have this piece. Some people actually unbolt this and kind of just cut this out so you can have access here, but BC Racing actually gave you a cool option. So the strut top is there. This extender goes all the way down and attaches to the top of the strut. So when I take it out, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But let me crack these two bolts here, two over there, and then once we crack those, I'll jack the car up take the wheels off, and then hopefully we can undo it from the bottom and take it out easily. Got the wheel off, that's the strut there, if you can see it. Let me make it a bit brighter. Yep, there you go. So we got to undo this bolt, the two strut tops at the top, possibly this one to squeeze it out. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this one as well. But yeah, these two are the painful ones, troublesome ones that I'm worried about. But hey, I've got the right tools, got a massive breaker bar, so it should be relatively painless, I hope. Oh yeah, you can see the old strut, BC BR type. These are great coils, by the way. Lasted me a long time, honestly. They've been through hell. I've taken them off-road, I've taken them interstate. They've taken a beating, held up well, but I think they finally let go, so let's change them out. Some fresh factory struts and Whiteline springs. Actually, there is one thing that I forgot to bring to this place, and that is a hammer and a punch to get these two bolts out the other side. Let me improvise, find something we can just hit that with to get it out, and then hopefully this whole assembly here just swings down and we can take the top struts and drop it right out. So got the left strut out. As you can see, this is what I was talking about before. This is the extension that went on top of the original strut that came out on top of the tower. So you can see here, I don't think it's going to focus, but this is your adjustment. You go soft and hard, you turn it up here, it turns the bottom, which is a cool kind of solution they came up with. Flexible kind of extender thing. But yeah. So got the old strut out. That's what it looked like. It's a great unit, served me well, but let's get the new spring and strut combo and put that in. Okay, there's one side done. New strut, or old strut with the new spring. Looks pretty good. Let's do the other rear and then let's hit the fronts. Okay, so welcome to the front of the car. Hopefully this is a bit more simple than the rears. So I've cracked the front lugs. It's just 314 mils up top. I'll crack those and then we'll jack it up. So let's get those three there, those bolts uncracked, and then we'll jack the car up. Okay, so here's the front strut. If you can see, we have the two main bolts here, one here, and then we have a couple bolts here, one for the brake line brackets, and this for the front sway bar end link. So 4 bolts in total should be, once those are out, this should be able to be pulled forward, and then we undo the bolts in the top and drop the whole thing out. Alright, little update, hit a little snag. So I got the front strut out, the new strut is in, but this part right here, the bracket for the brake line, this nut is just free spinning. So I'm gonna have to cut that off some other day, try to get that off. But for now, I think I'll just cable tie the brake lines on, as sketchy as that sounds. I mean, that's the only thing I can do right now in order to get it done today. But new front strut is in. Show you that here, looking nice and pretty. Front sway bar end link not matching up yet, but I'll undo the other side and hopefully the whole thing pushes down. But that's a little update for now. I will do the other side. Alright, little update. Got the other side in. It was a lot cleaner than the first side, so strut and spring in. I still need to, thanks Speds. I still need to torque all these bolts down. But on the other side, good news, I did manage to get that nut off with the impact driver. Just hit it a few times while applying pressure, it came off, so I got the bracket on the factory strut, which is good news, no dodginess. I did lose that nut though, so I reused this nut that held this little line on here, so I replaced that with a cable tie. But I use that nut here, which holds the whole bracket assembly on. Actually, this needs to come down to here. like that. Okay, perfect. That looks good. So let me torque everything down up top as well, and then get the wheels on, and then this should be ready to roll. Alright guys, the car is on the ground. I'm sure the springs haven't settled yet, but that's how we're looking preliminarily. Doesn't look that bad. I'm really curious to see how they ride, but I want to take it for a spin around the block, let the springs settle a bit, and then report back. We can do a comparison of the before and after, but for now it's looking pretty good. Let me clean up and take this for a ride to see if the springs will settle. Alright guys, we're all done here. Just took it around the block for a spin to let the springs settle, but this is how we're looking. I mean, it's a pretty similar drop to the coils. I think the rear's almost the same, the fronts are a little higher. There's a bit of reverse rake going on, I think, but looks still pretty good. I'm happy. And no more knocking, no more weird noises coming from the suspension. So a couple of differences I've noticed with the ride. It feels a lot stiffer, which I think is because it's actually absorbing bumps and shocks in the road now and rebounding properly. Before, I think there was just no damping at all. It was just a broken shock and a spring, so it was super bouncy, wasn't very stiff and making noises like crazy. So no more noises, a lot stiffer. It's actually more comfortable, honestly, and it's a bit more confidence inspiring, honestly, when you drive it, when it feels a lot stiffer like that. So that's it, spring install on the daily. Hopefully she passes inspection now, which is going to be in a couple of weeks. But yeah, by the way, last thing, if anyone was wondering why my wheels were so dirty, is because I'm waiting on a new wheel cleaner to come in, and I wanted to test how effective it was, so I let these get super grimy. Don't judge me on that. But yeah, I know I didn't sign up on the last video properly, but I'll do this one. Thanks for watching guys, and see you next one.